I solved recording's biggest problem. Well, that's not actually true, because in this video, I'm solving 10 of recording's biggest problems. That's right, I'm putting my skills to the test to see if I can problem solve and invent my way to solutions to 10 of the biggest headaches that producers, engineers, and songwriters deal with in the studio. And I'm giving myself 1 week to do this. So let's get started. Now, the first problem that I'm going to solve is something that drives me absolutely wild. And that is this ridiculous clip design on the Sennheiser MD421. I've been using these mics in the studio for over a decade now. And this is one of my favorite mics for toms, but it has a pretty brutal design flaw. It attaches to the mic stand with this little slot. And the clip is actually just a straight rail that it slides onto. And you can release it by pressing this button. See, the problem is whenever you go to actually pick up the microphone, your finger hits the release button and the entire mic slides right off the stand. So I tried to think of some creative ways to stop this from happening before I realized that this mic should just have a regular clip like all the other mics out there. And I recently got a 3D printer, so that is going to be the perfect tool for the job. And if you're not familiar, a 3D printer takes this plastic filament and it heats it up and then literally prints out your design layer by layer. So I hit the web and I found a nice looking 3D print file so I could make new clips for this mic. And I found this really great one. So let's print some out. And already there is a big problem. So I recently 3D printed some Caterpie planters and I set those up to have this fuzzy skin look so it would appear more natural. But I didn't realize that I left that setting on when I went to print these microphone clips. So they look absolutely terrible. And even worse, this is the last of my black filament. They literally just barely finished printing as I ran out of black filament. So I'm gonna have to come back to this problem later after I get a refill. So let's move on to something I can print in a different color. I figured we could do something simple to try to catch up. So I made a couple of these guitar pick holders. Now, one thing I hate is when I wanna use a specific size pick, but there isn't one sitting on my desk and I have to dig around in this bowl to find the right one. So this little dude holds 12 picks and you can easily identify the pick you're after, which is great. My buddy Josh saw this on my desk and said he would take one in blue. So I went ahead and made one for him and I delivered it at the next session we had.
Where do I put my picks?
No, it's not like that.
Oh. You mean you
Just put it somewhere and put some picks in it.
You just want me to put some picks in here?
Oh, I solved recording's biggest problem. Number 1. Picks everywhere.
I feel like I need a bunch of these.
I can make more.
Boom.
So I'm gonna call that problem solved. And I give this solution an A+. It's neat, it comes in fun colors, and it makes it easier to find your preferred pick. Nothing to complain about there. So that keeps our picks organized. But you can't have organized picks if you've lost all your picks in the first place. So to solve that problem, I went ahead and made some picks that I will never be able to misplace. Now this gets an A++ from me. Oh, and by the way, I am definitely going to make a part 2 to this video. So if you've got problems that you need solved in your studio, leave them in a comment. And if I end up solving your problem, I'll send you whatever it is that I create to fix it. So I showed my buddy Austin the pick holders and said I'd love to help him solve some of his problems. And thankfully he had a lot of ideas. The first thing he suggested was a little stand for his 100K subscriber YouTube play button, since it just flops around on his shelf.
So it's on this shelf that's like, it's like metal and then like glass on the bottom. And right now I just have it popped up there. So, whatever you want to do, brother, I'm cool with.
He also got some new pedals recently and figured it might be cool to display them and get them up off of his desk. He also mentioned a headphone stand and some rack covers, so I got to work on printing these bad boys. But once again, we've hit a bit of a snag. There are no existing models online for the play button stand, so I had to crack open Fusion 360 and design one from scratch. And I'm not the best 3D designer, but I did some concepting and eventually got something I think is pretty good. I was going for a bit of a retro future, like 90s cloud sort of design, and this is what I ended up coming up with. It's got that stick sticking out of the back to hold up the button, and it's got a bit of a wavy shape to break up the hard lines of the shelf and the award itself. I did a small test print and it seemed like it would work, so let's go for the real deal. Ta-da! Oops. All right, so I don't have a YouTube play button, but I do have this muffin tin that's kind of the same size. Would you look at that? Perfect fit. Let's make muffins later too. If you want to help me get a play button of my own though, I wouldn't be upset, but no pressure. Just 92,000 to go. Now, I thought it would be cool to make this stand a unique color, so I had to run to the store to get some paint. And while I was at the craft store, I grabbed a bunch of yarn, which I'm going to need to solve one of the future problems, but we'll get to that later. Now, I decided on a color morph paint job, and I started priming. And I had this genius idea to use the primer as a texture to try to make it look like melting metal. And after tons of spraying, drumroll please, here's the result. Absolutely awful. So I printed one in silver to just match the award's color, and we were on our way to a big dub. So once the headphone stand and the pedal risers were done printing, I also made these rack covers with Austin's initials and a little smiley face, and I packed them up to drop them off. Because as much as I would have loved to hang out and chat with Austin, I really need to get home so I can start working on the next problem. So I dropped off the box like Santa Claus. And once Austin got home, he set up his new gadgets in his studio. I'm gonna say the headphone stand is an A+. I'm definitely gonna make more of these. The pedal stands are fine, but I think they could be thicker and I'd like to do them in a darker color. So I'm gonna go with a C for those. The YouTube award I think is an A or an F depending on which version. And the rack covers are cool, but they're also pretty simple, so we'll go B for those. Now the next problem I wanna solve is one for you, actually. And this is something I've been working on for quite a while now. A problem I've faced in my production career is that it's hard to stay organized and focused on the projects you have in front of you, while also booking more projects, doing revisions, and planning for your long-term goals. Now, regular planners have never been good for me since they have a bunch of irrelevant fields and not enough space for notes and other stuff that I'd actually want. So I've been working on making a planner specifically for music producers, and I'm almost done with it, but I think it is so useful that I want you to have it yourself right now for free. So if you go to the link in the description, I'll email you the to-do list template, the songwriting split sheet template, and the input list template, and you can print them out for yourself. You can even go to Staples and print your own book right now, basically. I just want you to get started using the system now, and hopefully you find it as useful as I do. So go ahead and grab that now, and you can solve your own problems of being unorganized with your time. Now, the next problem is one that every vocal producer deals with constantly. You dial in your gain, find the perfect spot for the singer to stand while they're recording, and do a handful of takes. Then the singer comes into the control room, takes a potty break or goes to get some water, and then they can't quite remember exactly where they were standing. So it's back to square one. Well, I've got an idea that I think could solve this problem, and that is a custom vocal tracking rug. Does your studio have a vocal tracking rug? Probably not, because I think I invented it. But anyway, the concept is that you'll have two little feet where your feet go. And then I wanted this pond sort of pattern where you can place the mic stand on different spots. And once you've got it in the sweet spot, you can do your takes, then take a break, go to the bathroom, leave for lunch, whatever it is. And when you come back to do more vocals, the singer will just intuitively stand in the perfect spot. And even if you're coming back a few days later, you can snap a quick picture of the rug on day one. That's what the stripes are for. And you won't have to do any guesswork on where the mic or the singer goes. To turn the sketch into an actual rug, I'm going to be using a tufting gun. It's basically like a giant sewing machine needle that threads yarn into the holes of a backing fabric. Now you can use whatever colors or shapes you want to make just about any rug. And it's a little bit tedious, but I think the results will be worth it. So I started by outlining the different shapes and filling them in with different colors, going from dark blue in the middle to white on the outside. Now at first I was going to trace my boot to make the footprints, but I figured it would look a little cooler to have them be more abstract instead of just a straight up foot shape. Now tufting a rug is not exactly a quick process, to say the least. And it's already been a long week of making stuff, so I'm not sure what I was thinking taking this on. It might look like this is going smoothly, but trust me, after the first few hours, I'm already regretting this. Now, in between every color, I like to take my scissors and go on the front of the rug and just clean up the edges. It's gonna save us a lot of time fine-tuning things later. Now, at this point, my eyes are barely open anymore, so I'm gonna come back to this in the morning. And after 2 days of tufting and tufting and tufting, we finally have a rug. But not really, because before you can cut the rug out of the fabric, you have to apply carpet glue to the back so that the yarn stays in the fabric. And if you can do this step outside, I highly suggest it because the glue can get a little messy. Now, I was filming this video by myself, and after I walked over the tripod to hit stop on this clip, I accidentally stepped on the lid of the glue and got glue all over both of my feet, and then both of my hands when I was trying to get the lid off my feet. And I wish I had video footage of that, but needless to say, it was definitely hilarious. If you could see me crawling like a baby all the way to my shower to wash that glue all off, would have been funny. But note to self, do not step in carpet glue. Now, once the glue is dry, you can cut out the rug. Final step is to take a shaver to the rug to level out the topography. Now, I did leave the outer ring thicker than the others to give it a little bit of a 3D effect, which I think came out pretty nice. And we've also got some great news. The filament I needed came in while I was working on the rug. So I can print out some more of the microphone clips while I work. And would you look at that? No fuzzy skin, just a nice smooth clip. And now that the rug is done, let's put it to the test. So we've got a mic stand and a singer. Now let's walk away. And when you come back, take a look at that. The singer knows exactly where to stand. And here's a plot twist. If the mic needs to go farther away, I made a little baby rug to go under the stand. Isn't that adorable? Now, in theory, you could probably just solve this problem with a little bit of gaff tape, and frankly, making this rug was a ton of effort, but I think it turned out really cool in the end. So execution, I'm gonna give myself an A to an A+, but as far as solving the problem, I'm not even really sure what to say for myself. Spending 2.5 days on this was definitely a choice, but as for the mic clips, absolutely fantastic. No more dropped mics here, which means we are good to go. So I'm going A+++ on this one, or S tier, I guess, as the kids are calling it. Now, I do know that I said I was solving 10 problems in this video, but if you were counting, I only made 9 inventions. And that's because the biggest problem in the arts right now is not a funky microphone clip or a lack of vocal tracking rug. The biggest problem that I want to solve with this video is one that's a little more personal to me. So the governor of my state decided this week that he was going to cut and veto all of the arts funding grants for all of the arts organizations in our entire state, which were already approved. And as someone who loves the arts more than just about anything, I find this absolutely horrific. It turns out maybe he doesn't like when artists criticize him using their art. So he decided to pull this move, which has put so many incredible arts organizations local to me in serious jeopardy. Now, I want to do my part to fight back against this attempt at censorship. And the best way I can do that is to raise as much money as I can for Central Florida community arts. So I'm going to put everything I made in this video on eBay auctions starting at $10. And I'll pay for shipping out of pocket. And then I'm also going to donate some money on my own. And I'm going to donate the first week of ad revenue from this video as well. And I'll post receipts for those donations on my community tab once they're done in a week or two. So check back for those. But in the meantime, if you want to donate yourself, I'm going to put links in the description of this video so we can help save the arts organizations that mean so much to me and so many others in this state. So how did we do? Did we solve recording's biggest problem? I think we did pretty good. But if you want even more videos, check out this one here because YouTube thinks that you're gonna love it, or check out this one here, which is the last video I made, and I'll see ya in the next one.